Okay, hello everybody. So, if you're concerned about why I sound weird and why I might have a stuffy nose, I'm sick. Deal with it. Other than that, I guess let's get on with this video. So, here's the thing, is I've been thinking a lot about this lately, and I think I'm gonna start considering myself agender. Now, anyone who watches my videos are probably like, "Oh, you're such a snowflake. Oh my gosh." Or you're probably like, you're like, "Oh, yay." Or maybe you're like, "Oh, cool, bro." Or whatever gender neutral thing for bro. Or you're thinking, "Oh, really? Tell me more, please." You're right, thinking something, because, non-binary, all these weird gender stuff, Tumblrinas, blah blah blah, stupid bullcrap, and I completely agree. Now, a little bit about me, if you don't already watch my videos, which, unless I just get several more views on this video than the rest of my videos, I'm just like, probably doesn't matter, whatever. I am a skeptic of non-binary non-binary identities. So, yeah, and so you're skeptic of non-binary identities, yet you identify as one. Kinda weird. that was a weird face. Good thing I'm not popular, otherwise I'd be a meme! No. Oh gosh, I'm horrible. Now, I guess before I start rambling into this video, I'm gonna be real, you guys. This is probably gonna be a long video, because I tend to ramble, I tend to get sidetracked, and I tend to repeat myself. I had to do it. Sorry. Not sorry. So, yeah, if you don't want to listen to me completely trip over my own words and try to explain how I feel, because I would say I have a good perspective on this. I would consider myself to be a logical person. However, my words don't always come out the way I want them to come out. So, if you're willing to listen to me, feel free to stay. If you don't want to listen to me trip over my own words, and then you can go. So, with that said and done, let's get started. So, what is agender exactly? I'm glad you asked. It's exactly what it sounds like. Shut up, phone. Shut up, phone. Should have turned it on silent. Oh well. So, agender is the identity of feeling a lack of gender, or not really identifying with one or the other. I pulled up a bunch of tabs, and none of those tabs are that. I thought I was prepared, but I wasn't. Anyhow, so here's the thing with me is I'm like, I am probably a more masculine agender person. So anyone who's watched me are probably like, oh, are you going to change anything about your transition plan? Are you going to, like, what's different? Honestly, not a whole heck of a lot is different. Because guess what? I'm me. I'm just crappy at putting a name to what I feel and how I feel. Hell, I can't even tell when I'm having an anxiety attack. So it's actually really weird. But so you can imagine gender identity is a very, of course, you know, I know what I want, but I don't know how to put a word to it. And now I do. And I've come to accept it, and of course, being a skeptic, you can imagine I'm like, oh no, just all the snowflakes are the only ones who really identify as this, and you know, it's those people who want to get their panties or whitey tighties or whatever, if they wear any underwear, I don't know, you know, those people who want to get their freaking panties in a twist over stupid tiny things. And they are the people who make this harder for people who are actually within these gender identities to identify as this, at least the logical ones, because it's like, it's a lot like how people view Christianity. At least the people who are really against Christianity is, it's like, they see how hypocritical and how assholey sometimes, assholey. I'm a horrible person. Imagine if I could edit. This would be even more amusing of a video. Anyhow, so, and you know, people make those assumptions of, oh, this religion is bad because these people are bad. And that's kind of how it is with non-binary identities, I think. And that's why I'm so skeptical about it. And, you know, that's not right of me. That is not right of me at all to make those assumptions that because the people who are within this are this specific way means that this thing specifically is inherently stupid. Because I face that issue a lot with being religious and being like, and you know, I'm still religious, in fact, but so trying to think of words, so with, you know, this identity that, you know, it's not right of me to be like, oh, this is inherently bad because there's a bunch of snowflakes and idiots out there who just want to make noise until you shut up and agree with them, and they just use, but my feelings. God, I don't want to hear that on video. Anyhow, so yeah. But nothing's really gonna change as far as, like, my plan to transition. I'm still gonna transition as I had initially planned as far as, like, being male. Because, you know, if I'm gonna, you know, it's a binary world. It's just a pure fact that most people, almost all people, are male or female. Now there are a few people here and there who might not quite fit under that. However, it's just like, well, I guess if I have to, if I have to choose, definitely male. Because when I look at male and female, I'm just kind of like, no, I look at female, and I'm like, that is definitely not me. With male, I'm kind of like, I can see some of those traits within me. I can kind of see myself there. So, what kind of led me to feel this way? So, when I first, came out as trans and all that stuff, and really first started experimenting around with gender and stuff like that, I went for males specifically, and I'm kind of glad I did, because I think I probably would have been more confused if I would have just tried to just only be a gender and not, because I have dysphoria in my chest, okay? Like, I don't want my titties. I really don't. So, the fact that, and that was kind of why I went to male first, because it's like, okay, I definitely don't want boobs. And, okay, and here's another thing, is like, I'm a little bit fluid when it comes to genital kind of dysphoria. Because some days I'm like, I should have a dick. Phantom dick. Other days I'm like, I don't want a dick, I don't want a vagina, what do I do? Hell, sometimes I'm gonna be really weird and just tell you guys all the really personal crap. Some days, I'm just like, that should be a solid place down there. I shouldn't have a vagina or whatever. And that's how I always feel, is like, I should not have a vagina. And that's exactly what led me to initially go with male, is because I'm like, I definitely don't want a vagina. I'd rather have a penis. And I still strongly feel that way. However, some days I'm like, okay, I really don't want a dick. So, this is gonna sound weird and stupid, but, sometimes, instead of making a dick sock, I kind of just put a sock down there, and I kind of flatten it out, so it kind of makes down there feel a little bit, like, smoother and flatter, like there's not really anything there, or if there's anything there, it's not like a full-blown bulge or whatever, because that's just kind of my dysphoria being like, and it's weird, it's crazy, and it doesn't make sense, does it? But, and unfortunately, I tried to do a lot of research on, agender identity and stuff like that, and it is such a shame, because there is not a lot of science out there for it. There's nothing against it, but there's really nothing for it either. Now, if later on down the road there's some science saying, completely debunking this, I'll be like, okay, I guess I'm just actually an androgynous male person. I don't know. So yeah. And here's the thing, is socially, I look at male and female, and it's like, I definitely don't fit with the female. I definitely don't. But, I also really don't, when I look at guys, I'm like, that's not, I don't match that either, and sometimes, or actually a lot of times, honestly, more times than I'd like to admit, although being called female is so much worse, you know, being specified as male is still kind of like, just like, I don't really match that, but yeah, close enough. Or other days I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a guy, I'm a full blown guy, and so yeah, you might say maybe I'm a little bit gender fluid there, and you're probably thinking, oh gosh, this person's crazy. I don't know, maybe you're right. um, because honestly, I'm just like, it's not even the people who would be critical of this. It's the fact that I've seen these people and how they act that makes me think, oh god, am I crazy for this? What? And I'm hoping maybe I can be a logical person on this. And maybe this is a legit thing. And maybe I can just be someone who's not harping on, oh, because I feel this way, you have to, respect my pronouns or whatever. And I am perfectly open to they, them. And I'm perfectly fine with he, him, too, certain days I'm like, please call me they, them, but other days I'm like, oh, he, him works perfectly fine too, and I'm not gonna be, basically, and to my favorite picture on this, I'm not gonna be this guy, this thing, this whatever you want to call it. I'm not gonna be like, I'm not gonna get pissed off because someone says she, her, ma'am. Well, actually, I probably will be a little annoyed if you say she, her. But I'm not gonna be, and yeah, I will be annoyed a little bit if you call me a girl, just because I'm like, okay, I'm trying. There's scientific evidence in being trans. There's I've got some science to back me up on me being male, as far as gender identity goes, because there's a lot of brain stuff that goes into that. However, I'm not gonna be like a bitch and be like, oh, they, like, god, it just sickens me, honestly, because I'm like, people like that are why everything sucks. Like, oh, I hit buttons, what did I do? But yeah. Oh, look, Stefani is in the agender looking stuff. I mean, that makes logic, but I'm not gonna nerd out yet. Anyhow, so yeah, I'm not gonna be this kind of a person who's like, who, if you call me he or him or whatever, or even if you call me she, her, me, I'm not gonna be like they. God, you fucking cisgendered scum. So no, I'm not gonna be like this, because that's not cool. So, because there's not a lot of science into it, I'm like, okay, I understand if you want to keep me on a binary. However, there is also intersex, so... every time someone's like, there are only 2 genders, I'm like, bitch, there's 3. Because, intersex, and I'm like, I feel bad for those people, because they probably it's just like they don't ask to be born to not match one or the other. So I'm just like, oh. and it's just like they're basically treated like they don't exist. I feel kind of bad for them. Um, but yeah, I'm not gonna be like this. I'm not gonna be all upset if someone doesn't say they. And in fact, like I said, I'm perfectly fine with he, him. Especially because I'm like, there's not a lot of science into it. And honestly, I think there should be more science because it could either, it could either prove it right or it could debunk it. There's no harm in going one or the other ways, We could really actually debunk this, debunk it if you don't think that's a real thing, and if it is a real thing, hey, look at that, validation. Anyhow, so people, say, oh, gender's a social construct, gender is or some people want to say it's only mental or whatever, or some people want to be like, you can't change your sex or whatever, but it's like okay, not everyone's brain matches, their crotch. And I'm gonna be perfectly honest here, people are weird and brains are even weirder, it's really, it's fascinating, honestly. I think the human brain is very fascinating because, there's just so much about it that, one, we don't even know yet, and two, that what we do know, and it's like, whoa, that's weird. How does it do that? Anyhow, off of the mental, I think it's a lot of both. It's a lot of both. It's mental, it's physical, and it's a social construct. It is all three. It's physical because, there are, hormones. Hormones will cause certain, characteristics of your gender, of how you think, what you do, and in fact, by being on testosterone has probably even helped me to kind of rein in my emotions a little bit. Just because, that, and of course, having testosterone makes you more muscular, makes you more likely to be more aggressive or whatever. Which I probably really need that because I intimidate too easily. And of course, estrogen, there's biological things of, hey, it makes you fucking emotional as crap. I don't know a lot about the hormones in itself. I really should know more about it. Of course, and of course, in cisgendered females, it causes you to have, periods and a lot of stuff. You kind of need estrogen. And probably why freaking old ladies get so bitchy. I don't know. But yeah. However, it's also mental because the brain is this weird ass thing that does weird things, and it does not always correspond with your body. And in fact, like with me and my anxiety specifically, hell, I can't tell when I'm having a panic attack. That's because sometimes my body or something does not coordinate correctly with my brain or whatever, and so the brain is a weird thing. People who are born male might have, well, in the study I saw, might have somewhere between a male and female brain. People who or female might have a male brain, it's a thing. And honestly, I wish there was more studies done on that, because it's like, oh, look at this, there's some proof in this after all. Yay, I can actually be free to be me because science. Like, that's what you can really do to be an advocate. You can go into science, you can go into neurology, you can go into psychology. Do something. Don't just do gender studies, please. You're not helping anybody by doing that. I respect a minor in it. I respect it if there's a class in it. I just think, okay, no, don't have a major in it, because you're not helping anybody. You're not helping people of gender identities. You're not helping anybody by doing that. Anyhow, I could go on that, but I won't. And then, two, the social construct of it. It is a social construct to an extent, because don't tell me, we don't train ourselves to act, ladylike or are manly. You're not man enough. That's not ladylike. Things like that. And yeah, so it is a social construct to an extent. Like I said, it's a mixture of both. Everything, this is just a part of it. And, in societies, women are expected to dress a certain way, and men are expected to dress a certain way. There's certain gender roles that we are expected to live in. Like, hey, I mean, guys wearing dresses or whatever, it's like, honestly, the only people who are breaking away from gender roles are probably women. I feel bad for guys who want to wear a dress, because I'm like, oh, you're kind of as if you're transgender because you wear a dress, but you just want to wear a dress. Or maybe I looked at it as a drag queen, but it's like, hey, people can wear a dress if they want to wear a dress. I don't want to wear a dress. Dear God, no. And, of course, pink with girls, blue with boys, And, maybe there's some psychology thrown in there to that too. But, we are trained at a young age to be a certain way. And yes, a lot of it is influenced because of, biology, psychology, stuff like that. However, and so as far as identifying as a gender, I'm trying to go strictly off of this definition here of the state of being male or female, typically used with reference to society, culture, differences rather than biological ones. So culturally, that makes a lot of sense with these gender identities. Now, it's like, okay, don't get your panties in a twist, or your tidy whities, or whatever gendered thing you want to be. It's funny, people want to be like, gender is a social construct, but then they get pissed off because you don't gender specifically, and it's like, you don't gender them specifically, and it's like, really? Really? Isn't that contradictive? So, yeah, gender identity, it's... So this is kind of what I'm going off of, is the fact that we that I don't know what my brain kind of farted for a minute. Feminine in cultures, usually females kind of, attract themselves to each other and like to hang out in groups or whatever. Males like to kind of group up, and we do a lot of separation of male and female. And for me, I don't really feel like I fit into either one of those groups. Now, if you're trying to find, okay, which one do you fit in the best, definitely male. But overall, I just, I don't really fit in anywhere, it's, and, it's not just a, thing of, oh, you probably just look too feminine or something like that, but no, it's not even really that, it's just, I can't look at a guy and say, I am that, however, I can look at myself and be like, I'm neither, and, that's kind of where I feel like I'm at. So, dysphoria-wise, once again, I don't want my boobs, I don't, and honestly, bottom dysphoria fluctuates quite a bit between male and nothing, because it's weird, I wouldn't believe this if it wasn't really for that, because it's like, okay, how can you literally feel like you shouldn't have either genitals? How? Like, I feel like it's stupid, but I'm like, hey, and I like having a male voice, and I like, I feel a lot more comfortable being on testosterone, and I plan to stay on it. I have no intentions whatsoever of getting off of it, and that's fine. I still plan to get top surgery. I'm still trying to raise money for top surgery, and I'm still trying to, I want to get a hysterectomy. And as far as bottom surgery goes, that one's the one that's a little more up in the air. And that one has been up in the air, and it's like, well, I guess I got a long time to think about this, because, either way, I can't get surgery until, after I've been on hormones for a couple years. And financially, that's going to be several years. So yeah. So, what, with me, it's like, I still want my voice to be lower. I'm perfectly comfortable with that. I don't really want a gravelly voice. I just kind of generally want my voice to be lower. Do I want facial hair? I'm okay with facial hair. I'm not like really hyped up about it, but hey, I hope me passes male, and I would rather have facial hair than a lot of other feminine traits. So and I'd like to have a very androgynous face, which I kind of do. It's a bit chubby. I have a chubby face. Chubby. Gosh, now the internet gets to see my weirdness in its fullest. And, that's also part of why, when I chose my name, I did not want to go with a completely male name. I was initially going to go with Jacob because that was what I was supposed to be named. Because that's what I was going to be named when I was born a guy or whatever. But, I found myself really just like, I don't want to be confined to just a male name. However, I do want it to be male leaning so people can at least assume off of name that most likely I'm a guy. So yeah, gosh. And like I said, I'm skeptical about non-binary identity, so I'm like, oh, this is fun. Ew. Uh, but I don't really feel like a guy, I don't really feel like a girl, I just kind of feel like me, and that's all I really am. I don't really feel like neither one of those. I don't feel like a mixture between the two, and it's really interesting, and I wish I could share this with those people who are also skeptic about it. It's kind of a pain in the ass, I'll tell you that much, but I wish I could share this with you, so share this experience with you, because it is hard to look at something like this and be like, oh, it's a real thing, when you don't experience it yourself. And in fact, saying, and that's probably why people are like, oh, transgender isn't real. It's girls wanting to look like boys wanting to look like girls. But it's not like that. It's not like that at all. And it's interesting. And and honestly, like I said, I am agender, but I lean a lot more into the masculine direction. I have a lot more masculine traits. However, I do not feel completely male. I don't feel like that is my gender. However, I do have, I feel like, I got some features there, like physically and maybe even mentally, So, maybe I'm. So, I went ahead and pulled up a thing of a spectrum of gender, and some kind of like, it's kind of weird because I yeah it this is so weird to explain. I hate to be like, oh, this, listen to me, you guys. So this is a triangle, and so basically, at the bottom of the triangle where it points at, you have agender, and so I find it weird that agender is the highest number on there. It's kind of hilarious. So is female. Like, why is male 0? Fucking sexist. No, just kidding. Or am I? No, I'm a horrible person, I swear. But so in one part of the triangle it goes to male, which is a number 0, and then it goes across, the largest part of the triangle to to the number 6, which is female, and of course number 3, it's like neutral. So, and then if you go down to the bottom of the triangle where it's pointy at, and you can stab people with that end. Don't ask why that was my specific thought, but it goes all the way down to the number 6. I that's just really weird. So I kind of, jeez, that's just weird. Like, So I often kind of fluctuate somewhere between this agender area where it's at number 6 all the way up to um, somewhere between 0 and 1 on the male scale. Actually, probably even, well, 0 to 1.5, and all the way down to just, anywhere from maybe like, so when you go down to the agender, go down to 1, and if you're going into the female direction, a 1, I guess. And I can fluctuate anywhere between that and like maybe occasionally 2, but, and of course, I fluctuate all the time between, male and then down to agender and all that stuff. And probably a lot of reason I never really figured out my identities, because I was free to kind of just express myself the way I am. So I probably honestly often hang out somewhere on this line towards agender between like probably on the 4, most likely like right here, maybe a little bit over, somewhere between this specific area. And and I kind of fluctuate between there, but if I had to specifically be like, oh, put a dot to it, I'd put about the 4. And as you can see, that's really hard in the agender area, but it's still going into male. And what, I might be wrong, I'm not afraid to say that, because this is a weird thing. It's not normal. It's actually very strange, in fact, because it's like, how can someone not identify as male or female? Where do you get this from? Like, and honestly, it just comes from, well, one, not fitting in with either group. It's, think of it this way. Imagine female as a circle, and imagine circle, and then imagine that male is a square. The rectangle, but pretend like it's a square. And so for me, I would probably be more like a triangle. I am the Illuminati. Oh god, the Illuminati is agender. Oh my gosh, I'm a horrible person. Oh god. It's a good thing I'm not popular. I'd probably get a lot of hate on this video. But with a triangle, in geometry, put triangle. So yeah, I mean it's kind of half male in a sense, but it's still on its own isn't by itself. It doesn't fit into a circle or a square. So it's interesting, and man, I wish I could better explain this, and I want, because I want to be as clear as I can, because this is weird and confusing for me too. But yeah, and I've put a lot of thought into this and all that stuff, and like I said, it is a shame. It is a crying shame that there's not more science into this. But I think there is. But if science comes along and debunks it, I'm not gonna cry and be like, no, my gender is correct because I feel this way, damn it. No. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, no, my feelings matter more than your facts. Or whatever, I'm not gonna be an asshole, essentially. And basically, I don't want to be an ass, I want to make sure everything is okay, you know. And as a person, a man of science, and I still, like I said, I still gender myself a lot with male, just because honestly, male is still kind of gender neutral, in a way. Let's be honest. uh, oh gosh, trying to explain this is just like, oh god, am I doing good enough? Oh god, am I gonna get hated for this? But that's the thing. That's the cost of having an opinion, isn't it? So, oh gosh, I lost track. Oh my goodness. It's I'm not gonna get upset, if there is science that says no, agender is not an actual thing, you can't prove it, whatever, and the only reason right now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and identify under this is because, I see it as, you can't really prove it, but you can't really disprove it either, and it's a lot like religion. You could probably find some science in it, but you can't find solid facts on it. Like, you cannot find undeniable facts about it. Now, honestly, in religion, I feel like you can actually find more facts. I'm gonna ignore this because I oh god, that terrified me. Oh my god. That's what I get for, like, leaving my phone sound on. Oh god, I'm gonna die! You guys get to see my wackiness. Congratulations. It's just like, here you go, YouTube. You can watch my wild antics. Oh gosh. Probably have more viewers if I just got video of me falling down or something. Anyhow. Oh my god. I would cut this out, but I don't know how to edit stuff. And honestly, with my site, that just kind of makes it a lot harder to actually edit crap, so I'm like, oh, frick it, I'm not even gonna try. So yeah, it's... it's... Gosh, now I have to get my brain back on track. I'm so sorry, everybody. Unfortunately, I don't know how to edit, so you're kind of just screwed with my thoughts going. Okay, so yeah, like as I was saying beforehand, I am a person of science, and if something comes along that debunks it, I'm not going to get upset. But I really do think that if there are some studies done on it, if there are some neurological studies done on this, that we might find that there is something in the brain. Now, I don't know if it'll show up the same way as male and female does, or if it's maybe it's something completely different in the brain in itself. I don't know, you know? It's like, God, my brain's just like, but I'm gonna barrel through this because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm already making this video. I'm already this far into it. I'm not gonna stop. uh, but yeah, it, it's not like I do really think there's probably something to do with it. I don't know if it's going to show up the same way as male and female does, but maybe it would. Maybe. Or maybe it's a different part of the brain that just disconnects you from gender in general. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a neurologist. Hell, sometimes I'm like, a lot of times I think, maybe I should go major into this stuff so that, you know, I can actually prove my own identity. However, I want to do astrophysics, or philosophy, or law, or a lot of other things. But psychology and neurology is actually pretty high on that list as well. Actually, it comes about a few other majors down. I love everything. I really do. And I just love learning about things, honestly. Kind of part of why I initially named my channel The Potato Sciences, because I'm like, I'm a science person. Let me have science. However, I'm probably going to officially change that at some point. Because I'm like, I found another name that kind of fits better. It's still a potato name, but but yeah, I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to have conversations about this. I am awful at typing, which is why I actually come to YouTube, because even though I stutter a lot and I have horrible charisma, I'm like, and I know I could probably write better. However, typing is very annoying sometimes, a lot of times. I, I'm not even gonna go into that. That's not what this video is about. But yeah, and I want to have a logical approach at what is agender? Why do I even identify under this? And I think anyone else who is like me, who has that same curiosity of a non-binary identity, specifically agender, it's like you see all these, like, really radical people who, it's like, they're essentially this whatever, basically, and you're like, but that's not me. That's not me, so I can't be that, and it is a shame. It sucks that, we live in a world where this is, what agender is pictured as, and what a lot of agender people would probably actually say that they feel. Like, I get it, you don't want to be categorized as male or female, but it's like, I'm sorry, but you live in a binary world, okay? It's either going to be male or it's going to be female, and you can't really escape that. And it doesn't matter if what's going on. Anyone who has and have normity with themselves. Hell, there are intersex people, and I didn't even know those people existed until like about a year ago, and it's not even a full year. Actually, pretty close to a year ago. I don't know. I don't even know this stuff, man. uh, and you know what? Those people have to conform to male or female identities. And you know, that's also another science I use of, identity. Because I'm like, but what if they don't feel like they match up in either one of those categories? How are you going to force an intersex person to choose male or female, like, unless you physically force them yourself? Like, and that's why I'm a lot like, well, maybe there is something to this gender identity thing. However, I don't think people should be getting their panties in twists and think that, people need to act like this thing. This thing. I don't even know if I pointed in the right direction on my video cam, but this thing. Let's see if I am. I'm curious. I also need to check the recording itself, because I'm a paranoid person. I'm like, oh gosh, has it stopped yet? No, it hasn't. Hooray! I'm not your normal person. I'm really not cool. Oh nice, it's still nice and actually good sized. But yeah, this thing. Nope. This thing. There we go! So this thing. Not like this thing. Learning how to be a video. Oh my god. Excuse me, but I identify as a video? Of course. I'm a horrible person. Oh. But, yeah. Once again, going back to the gender spectrum page, it is a spectrum, but it's between male, female, or the lack of it, all the way down to just having absolutely no connection with it. That is how I define gender. If you try to make a gender identity outside of this, or you try to make yourself like have some special little identity that everyone has to specifically respect, that you are that thing and acknowledge it, that's when you're going overboard. That's whenever you're worse to the community. And it shouldn't be that way, It really shouldn't, but it's just kind of the way it is, and yeah. Like I said, I honestly do kind of like the they them pronoun, in all honesty, but I'm not about to be like, oh, call me this or else you're disrespecting me, you're not, you're freaking transphobic or whatever. Like, hell. my thing is, just don't go out of your way to spite me. That's all I ask. Don't go out of your way to misgender me, to spite me. And like I said, calling me by he, him pronouns are not gonna, I don't consider that, trying to spite me. I feel like that's you trying to be logical and be like, there's only two genders. And three. I'm just like, it bugs me. I could probably actually cough, but I don't feel like causing me to cough out my lungs. Yeah, pretty much, honestly, if the only way you can actually spite me is by calling me she, her. And people do that. So it's not like, I'm not gonna be like, triggered! I'm not gonna be like that, because I'm like, okay, you're stupid, but honestly, I'm like, let's have a conversation. Let's communicate. Let's have, let's be intellectuals about it. If you disagree with me, tell me why. Give me logical explanations. But don't give me, oh, because I feel this way, or don't be that parent that's like, because I said so. Don't, don't be like that, basically. That's the only thing I ask of people, and I don't feel like that's too much to ask. Is to just be real, be like, hey, I don't agree with this. Tell me why you don't agree with this, and I'll tell you, why I side with this, I feel like I say a lot too, way too much in this video. And like I said, it's like, it's a lot like religion. It's the only reason it still exists is because it can't be scientifically disproven. It cannot be disproven. There can be things that may lead you to be like, oh, yeah, here's some facts to support my side of the argument. But, the religious side can do the same thing. And I do feel like with gender identity, there is a lot more evidence on the... there's really nothing disproving it, honestly. It's just... And I think this is just... Maybe a lot of it is because, we're just now really starting to question gender in general. Like, it's just now become somewhatively, it's kind of, it's, I guess, it hasn't been exactly acceptable. I say that because I'm like, I still have people who are like, that's not okay, and, the other people who are like, okay, weird, I don't really care, this is kind of awkward now, but, and they're just kind of like, hey, so I guess maybe it's more of morally permissible. Ugh. I'm taking ethics class, intro to ethics, and now I'm trying to use the words, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm not the great philosopher I want to be. I want to be a lot of things, though. You can't be everything, though. Oh god. But, I'm trying to be as real as I possibly can, and because I think, especially in the non-binary world, it's like, we need people who are real, who aren't just going to base everything off of their feelings. But right now, that's what we have to go off of. And I hope that changes soon, and I encourage people who, if they really want to do some advocacy stuff for non-binary identities, do science, please. Don't do your gender studies, dear God. Like, please, no. Just, no. So, gosh. I was looking at a list of like majors and minors, and I saw an LGBTQ minor on the OU list, and I was like, oh no, why is this a thing? And I'm like, okay, if you're gonna use that, please go into psychology, like, specialize in that direction. But I'm like, oh god, someone could like combine gender studies and that. There's also a social justice minor, which makes it even worse. Like, okay, you know what? You want real social justice? Lawyer, politician, things like that. Or just do advocacy stuff on your freaking own time. Don't waste your time doing it as a major or minor or whatever. Oh god, I could go on a rampage with it. But I want to make this nice and clear, and that's why this video is probably long, and you guys are like, shut up, potato. We're tired of this. But yeah, so agender, lack of gender, or not really feeling like you identify as either male or female. And as I've already shown, you can have dysphoria on it. And specifically, you can have bodily dysphoria. You can be like, what the hell? I don't want a dick. Oh wait, but I don't want a vagina. Oh, but I don't want a dick. But I don't want a vagina. I don't want a vagina. I don't want either, And socially, when you look at the world around you, and we're kind of separating everything into groups. It's like, oh, male, female, and then you got these group of non-conforming people, and you tend to fit. Well, I mean, like even there, it's kind of like they're still separated as male, female, but you just don't really fit in with either male or female, and so non-conforming people are usually the closest thing you got. But it's more than just non-conforming. But if there is science that comes up that's like completely debunks agender, I can go on and be like, okay, I guess I'm just a male, androgynous, non-conforming guy, and that's perfectly reasonable too. But for right now, and maybe this is a little more experimental than anything else, but I really do feel like I fit under a gender because I don't feel like I have a gender. I really don't, but I do hold a lot of masculine characteristics and stuff like that. I don't know if I hope I'm being clear. I think I've gotten to my point where I'm kind of rambling, trying to put words together. Like I said, I'm skeptical about non-binary identities, but after all this time of thinking about it, I still think I think I probably fit better under this than anything else. Now, maybe I'm a little bit fluid. I go back and forth between agender and male. But I don't know. I feel a lot stronger with this agender identity, because when I look at other guys, I'm like, no, I'm not that, but I'm closer to this than I am female, and it does leave me confused. It really does. And like I said, I wish I could show this to people, show how it really feels to be agender, because it's not just a feeling of not wanting to conform, but hey, with the definition of gender, I'm gonna flip back over to that tab now. It's like technically agender is a perfectly valid thing. So I'm gonna roll with it, you know? Because I don't match masculine and I don't match feminine. And you might be like, but that's just like expression. That's just being masculine and feminine in society. And it's like, but that's exactly what the definition of gender is. Now you want to be like, okay, well, what sex are you? And I'm gonna be like, and of course, I'm gonna admit, sex wise, I'm female, and I want to specifically transition to male. But here's the tricky part of that: I don't really want balls, you know. So, but I want. I'm gonna get detaily on here, so if you don't want to hear about genitals in detail, run away now. Uh, you know, I don't want testicles. I really don't. Now, if I had to choose between being male and female, if I could have chosen to be one or the other at birth, everything and all, I definitely would have gone for male. I'm kind of like, I don't want balls, but at the same time I'm like, but if being born male was an option, I probably would choose that option. uh, However, I'd like to be able to pee to stand up and sexually wise. I think I'd feel a lot more comfortable sexually with at least the shaft of the penis. I don't know a lot about this stuff because I'm like, oh, this is awkward. Um, um, I feel really weird talking about this. However, outside of that, I just kind of want flatness. I don't. Basically, I kind of just want the crotch of a doll, basically. Like, there's no vagina, there's no dick. However, like I said, pee hole wise, I'd like to be able to stand up, and for the sake of sexuality, having a dick would be nice, like. So, most likely I'll probably go down the path of like materioplasty. I've researched a lot of stuff on transgender stuff, and so yeah. But as far as any other like surgery, and that's actually kind of what I had already intended to do anyways. But now I'm just kind of like, shut up, phone. I told my friends to call me, but I'm still making a video, and I'm like, oh god. um. So, yeah. Dang it, where was I at? Oh yeah, crotch. So, I really do want to, I want down there for the most part to be flat. However, since, we all kind of have to pee from somewhere, and, oh god, and sexual wise, I'm like, yeah, probably having at least like the shaft of the dick would be nice, but I'm very uncomfortable with a vagina, which of course is probably why I initially identified strictly as male, because I was like, okay, well, there can only really be female or male. I'm gonna go with male, because I definitely don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want these. Yeah, I want my voice to be lower. And actually, something I don't usually mention because I forget to even bring it up ever is, one of my biggest dysphorias with being well, I don't know if I'd really call it dysphoria. Honestly, I don't know what to call it, because I can't really tell. Like, I don't think I'd be able to tell it on myself. But it's like the Adam's apple is something I like when I was a kid. You know, I was kind of like, oh, maybe somehow I'll accidentally grow one or something. You know, it's a weird ass thing, which of course would make people think, oh, you must be male. And you know what? Because of the fact that I'm a reasonable person, or at least I try to be reasonable. I'm not always the most reasonable person ever. Um, you know, if you, oh god, so much mucus. You guys get to see my weirdness and grossness and all. Congratulations. If only I could edit. So, I'm going to try to wrap this up now, because I think I made all the points I really want to hit on. If something's unclear, then yeah, and if I want to make another video on this, I guess I can always do that too. You know, you can ask me, or I can just be like, and I can answer your questions, or I can just make an entire video, because I can talk forever, and ever, and ever, and ever, and ever. Anyway, I'm a dork. So to wrap this up is basically because I myself am skeptical of these identities. You know, I'm perfectly I find it reasonable for people to be like, you're a guy. Like, obviously you're transitioning into the male direction. Obviously you have all this stuff. You're male. You're not some weird gender or whatever. And I respect that. I can respect that because a lot of the people who identify as this stuff, instead of actually doing work to see, hey, are these identities real? They decide, oh, we're gonna just use you have to respect us because of our identity and, feelings and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, feelings are important, but facts are even more important. And that's a thing I do live by. Facts, and be kind to each other. And I believe both of those can coincide with each other. Because we all should just coexist, damn it. But if you are willing to go for the stretch, I would like to not be considered male or female. Especially not female. Dear God, not female. Like, I'm just kind of like, okay, you're stupid out of your mind if you think I'm female besides what I was born with. Like, nothing else but my vagina and tits say, oh, she's female. I am a quirky person. And, I want to have intelligent discussions. Although, I do tend to get defensive, so, if you try to, like, talk to me, if I get slightly defensive, just remind me to chill out a little bit. Because I'm very well aware of that, and that's not cool of me. That's not cool of me at all. And, I'm not even saying I'm right on this. However, I am saying that at the moment, because of the definition, the English definition of gender, I am taking this identity on. Because I feel like it fits. And I do feel some dysphoria with it. And that's really the only real facts I can lay out for you right now. Besides maybe being like, well, there's intersex people, and What if they don't really want to identify as one or the other? Like, you know? But that's about all I can give you. I can't find any studies done on agender people. I can't find anything like that. So, you know, if you're willing to give it a stretch, you know, feel free to, recognize me as agender. And I appreciate they, them pronouns, but I am not going to be like, only call me that, because I'm also okay with he, him. It's kind of like, I don't feel like that's 100% accurate, but I am also willing to go by that as well. And, whichever one you feel more comfortable saying, because I don't want to push other people out of their own comfort zones, but I expect people to at least respect mine to some extent. Not be like, oh, like, I'm not gonna get my panties in a twist, if you choose to say you're a guy, I'm gonna be like, okay, that's logical. I understand. As long as, you give me reasons XYZ, like, as long as you give me reasoning with it, And I think a very important note to make is I'm not just doing this for myself, but I'm doing this to show that, hey, you can be logical and you can be reasonable and identify as non-binary. And as I really hope will come one day, I almost kind of feel actually a little bit emotional on this, because I'm like, oh god, is that if there can be some facts proven towards being agender, or something comes up enough for me to say, hey, I'm publicly agender, and like, I have to come out to my family or friends, well, mostly family. My friends, I'm just like, okay, whatever. I think there's only like one or two people I'm kind of like, probably not say that to them. But mostly family and Facebook, because I keep up with people on Facebook. That way, if I do have to come out, people aren't like, oh gosh, you're just going through another phase or whatever, you don't know what you're talking about, you're just trying to jump on board with everybody. But, I see this as being something I do way, way in the future. I don't see myself coming out on Facebook or to my family right away. And not even within the next year or so. Like, unless, like a lot of evidence comes in for it. So, yeah, this is not just as a reaching out to everyone else about my gender on YouTube or whatever, but it is also having proof that I was already identifying as this long before I publicly come out. I say publicly because I'm like, okay, YouTube's not really that public. And I mean, unless you become like popular or something, then I mean, you kind of become a little bit. That just gets difficult. But I don't see myself becoming popular anytime soon. So, just mostly because charisma is the fact that I use to just bad noises probably says a lot. So yeah, and so this is also my proof, you know, if facts do come up. And once again, this is also my proof of if I do start to identify as this a little bit more, or whatever, and facts come along to say, this isn't, that, people like this are just like non-conforming people or something, then I can also be like, I was willing to recognize that, and I'm willing to accept that I was wrong. However, I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong, honestly. I hope I'm right. I really do. Because this would be a really nice thing to be able to be open about. But for right now, I'm fine with, identifying as male, being out, at least to my family, as male, and Facebook as male. And because, you know what, I'm still planning to transition like a guy. So, it's not like I have to, it's not like I'm have some other goal to reach that wouldn't be something I was going to reach, without identifying under this. Because, yeah, I'm still fully gonna transition to male, just because I would feel a lot more comfortable, and that would really relieve a lot more of my dysphoria if I was to, transition into a more male-like body. However, as I said before, I don't really match male or female. And who knows? I see a lot of reasons why, maybe I'm just overcomplicating my own non-conformity. I don't know. I'm willing to look at both sides. But as of right now, I'm going to say I'm agender. Pronouns are they, them, or he, him. Because I'm like, oh, okay, well, because he, him might be easier to say than they, them. I don't know. It's up to you guys, I guess. And thank you for listening to me and my antics and my seriousness, for that matter. Like, for real. So, yeah, I'll do more research on this as I continue down this path. And I hope that maybe, just maybe, I'll find a lot more evidence supporting myself. Because I want to be able to defend myself on this, and I want other people who are reasonable people, who are logical people, who need evidence to, be able to back themselves up on this. So, yeah. This is all a very big stretch for me to say and accept for myself on. So, yeah, I appreciate y'all's time, and I hope that maybe something can be elaborated on this. If you have any questions, or if something I said wasn't very clear, or maybe you're I'm like I'm like or if you want to say I'm wrong, but at the same time I'm like, dude, even I'm saying I might be wrong. Like, what more do you want from me? um, but I want to see where this goes. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. Who knows? uh, but I really do hope I'm right. And I think I've said everything I need to. So, I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching.